Hopefully we got a decent enough connection right here. You're live there, homie. He's back. Look who's back in town, folks.
Man, back from Falcon Lake. It's time to get down with the get down.
He's back up here in the motherland, son.
Man, it's nice to be home. I enjoyed the carne guisada, the migas, the chicken fried steak with the cheese, the fajitas, the flautas, everything else. But man, it's time for some steak and cheeseburgers. It's nice to be back at the
motherland. Dude, we are down here live from Nautical Mile Marine, the best dang skeeter boat dealer.
Just sleek and clean and beautiful.
I'm talking about looking good.
They don't look 10 years old. My 2019 looks like 2009 after being down at Falcon.
It does. I bet it sure does. Let's see who's. We got some folks commenting and joining us in. Seabot, Kevin Jones. Interruption here. There we go. We're back. Martin Montoya from the Hookset Brothers. Man, these guys do a phenomenal job of taking care of our vets. Look, vet, and this guy takes care of all of them, man. He brings vets that are struggling or not struggling, whatever. What's your deal, man? Tell us.
Basically, man, we just want to show them the peace that we have found as combat veterans.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
The outdoors. I mean, whether it's hunting, fishing, and to top it off, it's free. Free for any combat veteran who wants to come out and enjoy an awesome time on a bad-to-the-bone skeeter bass boat. Hit us up, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever.
Hookset Brothers on Facebook. I cannot put enough of a stamp of approval on these guys. They do an outstanding job reaching out to our fellow vets. And you know, that's our number one priority in life. We got God, we got family, and the vets are all right there in the same group, man. There ain't much difference in any.
And we stick together. One team, one fight, brothers.
Absolutely. I mean, you were in the Army. We'll wait till we turn this off, then we'll have that conversation. But yeah, we're all together.
I didn't eat crowns.
I did, and I love them. Purple's my favorite.
That's it. I like fuchsia.
Fuchsia.
Fuchsia's the deal, bro.
Leave it up to Marines.
The Marines are kind of, we all know it. But hey, as far as all you guys are concerned, yeah, we're all together.
Hey, and look, I've known these guys for a while, man. They're doing big things right here in East Texas. They're taking combat veterans hunting, fishing, getting their mind off of the stuff that they can't unsee. But these guys, they've found a passion that's helped them, and I've been fortunate enough to know Martin and Adam and for a while and kind of watch this thing grow. And man, it's good stuff. And I'm proud of you guys.
Thanks to you guys, I've caught some fish off of some awesome spots.
That's all we're saying, folks. Thanks, Martin. Appreciate it, buddy. I'm gonna set this up right here so we can kind of freewheel and deal here. There we go. All right.
So I'm gonna throw some of the Falcon Lake stuff out. Bass Champs is coming out. I didn't tell you this. Sneaking this in on you. Bass Champs coming out Saturday, so I'll do a quick rundown on the baits.
Okay.
Over there.
Quick rundown. Before we get to rundown, one more plug. Nautical Mile Marine. I know we mentioned it briefly. Down here, just south of Tyler, Texas, off Highway 155. They got Mr. Joe over there in the maintenance shop.
Making it happen, dude.
The best guy. He will turn your boat around like that. He does an excellent job. So professional. Those guys are the best. Chris Knight, Dennis, the team over here.
Yeah.
Whatever your boat needs are, whatever your desires are, they got the magic to make it happen, man. I cannot recommend these guys enough as well. That being said, talk about Falcon Lake. Then I'm going to hit them up with some Lake Fork stuff and some Power Plant Lake stuff because we've been doing that a little bit. So Falcon Lake, let's hear it.
Falcon Lake. So Bass Champs is coming up this weekend, and you guys are probably some of you guys are probably fishing at. Things have been tough. Water's been up, water's been down, water's been cold, water's been hot. We had 42-degree days. We had 97-degree days. I got back last night, surprised the wife. We're fixing to go out with the wives and eat a little steak dinner.
Something like that.
Couple baits I'm throwing a lot. I'm flipping a lot. When I'm flipping two things. A Santone half-ounce jig. I'm throwing pinto beans and carrots. My favorite color. That's the color.
Yeah.
Pinto beans and carrots, half ounce.
Like he don't got like food on his jig, y'all.
No.
I mean, he's crazy, but he's not quite that crazy.
But they might eat it.
I don't know.
Especially the Mexican bass. They love
new hot take coming in next week, folks.
So I'm throwing pinto beans and carrots on my jig. The water's really clear, and I think the reason is it's not supposed to be clear just for you guys that
it's always really kind of chalky down.
Yeah. But I think what happened is the lake was real low. All the grass. People are like, "Are you fishing in grass?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm from St. Augustine and some Bermuda,
some coastal Bermuda, maybe a little buffalo grass."
But I think that and the current from Amistad, that water coming in, pumpkin, and here's a really big deal. I'm dyeing the tips of those trailers, the little pinchers. I'm dyeing them in chartreuse, not a marker. I'm actually dipping the whole thing in there. The next thing I'm throwing is Berkeley actually makes a havoc bait called a Pit Boss. And it's basically a little beaver style body with 4 tentacles, and they have a lot of action. I'm throwing 2 colors. I'm throwing green pumpkin and I'm throwing June bug, and it kind of depends. If I'm in that clear water, I'm throwing green pumpkin. If the water's a little bit dirtier, or if it's real cloudy or something like that, I'm throwing June bug. Again, I'm actually dipping all the tentacles in that. So you got a lot of chartreuse.
There's a lot of chartreuse.
A lot of chartreuse. I'm throwing that on a
Throw that
3/8
sauce
ounce,
on it.
3/8 ounce weight. If it's real slick and we're in like a foot, 2 foot of water, I'm throwing a 1/4 ounce with a 4/0 heavy wire flipping hook and 25-pound cigar. Now, I think 20-pound cigar, like if you guys throw Red Label or Brazex or something like that, I think that 20 pounds fine. I'm throwing 25-pound Invisex because I'm fishing those trees. And your first question can be, what kind of tree? Doesn't matter. If you get into like some of these channels that are off the rivers, like these little sloughs off the Rio or some of these creek channels, flip every tree. The next thing I'm throwing is a Santone 1/2 ounce spinnerbait. I'm throwing a 3/8 and a 1/2 ounce spinnerbait. I'm throwing white and chartreuse with like a 4 and a number 3 willow blade, a nickel and gold, something like that. 3/8 and 1/2 ounce. Now they make a color, and I'm trying to think. I think it's called man, I can't remember. It's like Magic Brim or something like that. But it's white and chartreuse with some clear color in it. And man, that's been the ticket.
That's been the deal. That's good, dude.
If I'm in the stained water, it's just white and chartreuse. But tandem willows, a gold and a nickel. That Santone spinnerbait's caught tons of fish for me while down there, and they hold up. So that's a big
Falcon's
deal.
just such a traditional spinnerbait. Like
It is.
Santone makes a really good spinnerbait.
It's potentially the best
really
spinnerbait
good.
lake in the world.
Maybe.
Because this is the only one you're jerking 7, 8, 9, 10 pound
Giants,
fish
consistently giants, yeah.
up. I'm throwing 20-pound line. I'm throwing a 7.3 Kistler Z-bone rod that I absolutely freaking love, and a 6.3 to 1 reel. My other bait is kind of my big fish bait. I'm not catching as many on this, but it's the Smash Tech Poacher. It's a 5-inch bait. I'm throwing olive shad and bait fish, and I'm throwing that as well on 25 Invisex. Now on that, I'm throwing a pretty big rod. I'm throwing a Kistler Helium 3 710 heavy action rod. Now, kind of the trick to that bait is I'm throwing it 2 different ways. Now, this kind of pay attention to this, folks. This is the big fish bait.
This is by far the most in-depth top 5 baits we've ever had. You're like knocking out of the park.
Dude, I just drank my white monster. Give me that white
Oh,
power.
the white monster.
So,
yeah.
So I'm throwing an 8/0 Owner Beast flashy hook when I'm in about 4+ foot of water, 4 to 8 foot of water. I'm staying in the creek channels, throwing down the creeks, throwing in the edges of the creeks, staying next to timber. The deal is when you're sitting in these creeks, Diablo, Blanco, creeks like that, you can't see all the timber in the creek channel. You know, we don't have, you've got some defined creeks in there, but not like Fork where they come and they fall in. I mean, some of those creeks south of Tiger, stuff like that, they do, but a lot of the flatter creeks on the Mexican side, they don't. They're just a little bit less tapered. So those creeks I'm throwing, that I'm fishing, I'm just staying in the creek channels and throwing to the outside. The big wood's best for that pattern. I'm throwing an 8/0 Owner Beast flashy, and it's got a 3/8 ounce hook or weight on it. Now, one thing I'm doing that's a little different. Check this out. I'm taking the little nickel willow blade. I'm taking it off, and then I'm taking my Santone spinnerbait, and I'm taking my dikes and I'm clipping it. And Kathy, don't get mad at me. I'm gonna need more. I'm clipping the arm off, and I'm taking that arm and I'm making a little loop in it, and I'm putting that arm on that flashy hook. That way, I've got a number 3.5 willow
Bigger blade on the
I've got a
flashy.
really big
Yeah.
blade. I've got a number 3.5, which is, if you're throwing like a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait, just to kind of give you guys a reference, it's usually got a number 5 and a 3.5, and I'm taking that 3.5 on there and not putting it on there. Now, when I'm fishing the shallow flats and I'm throwing that poacher around spawning fish, it's a little different. I'm throwing an 8/0.
Dude, our kids are freaking out back there. At least
That's
my
all right.
kids are.
They're supposed to. They're kids. So I'm throwing an 8/0 hook with some tape weight on it, or I'm throwing the Owner Beast plain, just the belly weight instead of the flashy. And I'm throwing that. Again, 25-pound Invisex I think is a big deal. I'm tying that double San Diego jam. That way I've got 2 loops around that hook. And so that's not 5 baits, but I'm only throwing 3.
Well, we're doing like 3 different types of lakes, so we're going to cover way more than 5 baits.
All right. So I'll quit talking.
Are you tagging me
there you
in?
go. I'm tagging you in.
Tag,
All
I'm
right.
in. Okay. Whew, man, that was a lot, dude. He went way in detail. That was awesome. Hey, where you going? You get to come back over here and talk to me too. You don't have to leave. I'm not like kicking you out of the store or nothing. No, you're not fired by any means. So, At Lake Fork, if you want to grind them out on Lake Fork, it is a grind, but the deal is there's giant bass on Lake Fork, and
somebody just caught a 10-pounder this afternoon.
They're at their heaviest weight of the year. So if you want to catch the biggest bass of your life, there's no place better than Lake Fork. There's no time better than right now. One more thing I want to add about Falcon before, and I don't know if you may not even know this yet, but guys, Falcon Lake, if you follow along with the Fish Life app, if you're subscribed to Falcon, guess what? It's going to be permanent. We've established a partner down there. We've got Mr. Jared Lee, Border Patrol agent and fishing guide.
Nice.
Down there on Lake Falcon.
And he rents the house that I stay at.
And he has the best lodging option out there. So Jared Lee's actually going to be helping us out with that, giving us some information on that. So the Fish Life app package for Lake Falcon will be a permanent package that we will update. We've actually got an update. Should be coming in about the next week or so for fresh spots on Falcon. So go subscribe to Fish Life on Lake Falcon. We're going to keep you on the best spots we possibly can, the most current information you can possibly buy for Lake Falcon. Now, Lake Fork, best bait to use right now, in my personal opinion, is a chatterbait on shallow creek swings around grass. That seems to be where all the big fish that are getting caught right now on Fork are coming from. Like every single day, that's where the best bass are being caught. Some days it's white, some days it's black and blue. But 3/8 ounce chatterbait, shallow grass, creek channel swing. You know anything about that?
I know a little bit about that.
That's a pretty good deal. It'll catch a big one. Also, the lipless crankbait, a little bit more of a numbers bite if you're looking for tournament.
Which one are you throwing? The Quake? Which?
So my personal lipless crankbait that I'm throwing is the 1/2 ounce Quake 70 in Tiger Truce. Little chartreuse, little orange, a lot of flash in that dirty water. We got a lot of rain, we got a lot of dirty water, so you got to think about that. You need solid colors and bright colors right now. That's my opinion on that. So those are the two baits. Like literally, if I'm going to Fork, those are really the only two baits that I'm concerned with. I'm gonna take that lipless crankbait. I'm gonna take that 3/8 ounce chatterbait. And I'm gonna keep around those creek swings, creek junctions, and shallow grass flats.
One more thing, I'm not out there, but I'm about to be. We finna get down. When we get down, I'm gonna be throwing the Provoke, which is a jerk bait.
The jerk bait, 6 cents Provoke 106X. Yep.
Yes, it's the deal. It's one of the hottest baits.
They
out
are
right
biting
now.
the jerk bait. I'm just not much of a jerk bait fisherman, so that's not. But for you, yes, if you were out there,
I will be out there throwing it.
You'll be throwing the heck out of that Provoke. And where are you gonna throw that? You think? Like,
I'm gonna throw it on main lake points, right at the mouth of spawning areas. Even some of the creek bends that you're mentioning. Some of those fish, especially when I get high skies, no wind, no clouds, I'm gonna throw that. Dirtier water, I'm throwing kind of a gold body with a black back. Clearer water, I'm gonna throw just a translucent shad color, something with some purple, some chartreuse, that sort of deal.
So now let's go to the party, because this is an absolute party. You guys know how fun fishing is in like late April, early May, mid-May. You know how much fun that is?
That's the best.
When you're fishing like that's like a lot of fun.
That's the best. That's absolutely.
A little bit of spawning left, but a lot of post-spawn fish.
A lot of fish are hungry.
Some are lethargic, but they're still willing to eat. Some are like really active and really hungry. You can catch those wads of groups. Well, folks, that's what's going on our power plant lakes. I've been to a couple of them this week. As long as they don't shut the pumps off. They shut the pumps off on us at Brandy Branch. We had a trailer over to Martin Creek earlier this week. But the Martin Creek fish are post-spawn, they're eating. The Welsh fish are post-spawn, they're eating. And the one I spent the most time on was Lake Welsh. So I'm going to tell you guys, Welsh is a grass lake. If you've been there, you know. My deal that is like really consistent. I'm catching 20-pound bags of fish every time we do this. And on Welsh, a 20-pound bag. So
that's
a really good bag on Welsh. So it's really consistent to catch the bigger female bass that are post-spawn in Lake Welsh. What we do is we go to the spawning pockets, and there's a grass line in every, like most of these pockets that are spawning pockets, the whole thing's just full of grass. Well, somewhere out in the mouth of it, out in the middle, there'll be an outside grass line where that grass kind of funnels down to a V like this. That's the juice right there. Those big females are sitting right on the outside edge of that grass, right at the mouth of these pockets. They're all kind of gathered up in one spot. You can hit the spot lock, you can hit the power poles, and you can sit there and make repeated casts with either a swim bait, a chatterbait on really cloudy days, or a wacky worm. When it's real tough, you can just slow way down with that wacky worm, and you can absolutely catch all of them in those spawning pockets on the outside grass line. That's my report. Now let's answer some questions. What we got, Ronnie?
I don't know. How would you fish Squaw Creek, which has no grass? Fish the trees. I've never even been there, but I already know you fish the trees.
I'm gonna right now Squaw Creek. I'm gonna assume they've had that. Now they shut the power plant down, so they probably still got some spawning fish out there because they had a nuclear reactor go down and they shut it down for a while. Yeah, I've heard
was that Trump's fault?
I don't know whose fault
Probably
it was,
Trump's fault.
So they probably still got some spawning bass. So I'm actually gonna go myself. If I'm going out there, the first thing I'm gonna do to eliminate it is I'm gonna go to the backs of creeks and look for spawning fish. Actually, visibly see if there's fish spawning, and if there is, then I'm gonna fish for the spawning fish.
What up, Tom Lowe?
T-Lowe's in
the monster's kicking in for old Captain. You dang right, boy.
He's showing. It's always kicking in though. That's the thing.
Has anyone had any luck on a swim jig on Fork, Billy?
Swim jig, I've been chatterbait more over swim jig. I like that tight vibration when the water's real cold.
Yeah.
Now, also, to be fair, have not really thrown a swim jig a lot yet. Now, I know my buddy Johnny Geis, old Johnny, he likes to get out there and throw that swim jig in the cold time of year. Well, he has been catching a few really big fish on the swim
It's
jig.
got to be. There got to be some
But he's
swim
throwing
jig.
a 3/4 ounce, a
Gotcha.
big swim jig, letting it get down a little bit deeper in some creek channels and stuff, and he's catching some big fish.
I'm going to let you do that because I'm going to mess it up. Somebody said they're coming in from Colorado.
Switch me.
In 3 weeks. Will they miss the big females? Absolutely
No,
not.
man, this out by the...
Oh, no.
So, in 3 weeks, and come on with me now, in 3 weeks, the south end of the lake will be in its full pre-spawn mode.
Well, let's see.
All
Where
those
we at?
shallow shell beds that we talk about, guys, that's when they will absolutely start to go off.
These big girls that have moved up, they're gonna keep going down and up and down and
Old
up.
Texas
They're just gonna
two-step, back and
kind
forth,
of. They're
yeah.
gonna keep going. About that first full moon in March is when you're gonna see a big rush of girls like start to try to bed, and then you got like 2 months of all the big females. Like the lake's so big and it's got so many fish. You just got a lot of time with big females.
Like a lot of the big females on the north end are pre-spawn right now,
Right.
and a few maybe in the mid end. But those south end females, they're kind of still staging out in deep water.
You're gonna have females until
You'll
April.
have pre-spawn females until mid to late April.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
And so when you get here in 3 weeks, that very far south end of the lake, where we got all those shallow points that we talked about, the shell beds on the sides of them and all that stuff that Mike gets like real excited about.
Oh,
you know?
Shellbed Mike.
Oh, shell bed Mike.
We had a drinking game. We were gonna every time Mike said Shellbed, we were gonna take a shot. And then like
We
5
got-
minutes
yeah.
into it, everybody was passed out.
We're done.
But
Dude,
you know, something to add to those pre-spawn females. Even though you got now 3 weeks, you're way early. You're like prime time. But don't forget, the females get fat not just because they're pregnant. They get fat like Billy does because they eat a lot, and their fish start eating a lot. Like they're gonna eat, they're not gonna eat, and then they're gonna they eat because they're hangry.
they're going to eat big meals. You can throw big. You can get up on them shallow points, them staging points. You can throw big swim baits. You can throw Carolina reefs with big baits behind it, like a full-size brush hog, big worms, stuff like that on these shell bed points. Will absolutely wreck them here in about 3 weeks.
Is there a good spot to fish on Fort tomorrow in the high winds? You got them southeast winds coming in.
Southeast, the whole west side of the lake is going to be kind of a no-go. Like, you're not going to want to drive across it.
I'm not good with geology.
What I would say is a good spot to fish. I mean, you can always go to like Running Creek and Coffee Creek. Those are always protected. If you can get across the birch, you can always go back and birch, and that'll be super protected. But trying to go down up and down the main lake out in front of Lake Fort Marina on that side is
Yeah,
going
you
to
need
be
to be
pretty
careful.
tough. You're going to
Yeah.
be real careful. Now, if you want a trailer and launch, you can fish Mustang, Little Mustang Williams,
That's good.
all that stuff.
And little Mustangs. All that stuff's really good. There's
All
grass,
stuff's
all
really
that's
good.
really good.
And the deal is just look at the map. Like, I mean, that's. I don't mean to like, not trying to insult you or anything, but you
Yeah,
really
it
just
is.
need to look at the map and see which direction the wind's going and find out where you can launch and where you have
Do you
the most
think
range.
fish are still shallow and Fork backed off? Yeah, the answer is yes.
So, do you think the fish are
What up,
shallow
JD?
or fork or still backed off in ditches? They're backed off in the ditches. They're still shallow. We're talking shallow ditches.
Yes.
But yes, as far as them getting out on top of the flats, no, we have not had any kind of warming trend. If anything, they've backed into those shallow ditches and moved out to the next deeper bend at this point.
Kate King, I struggle with the Squaw Creek. I've never been there. I don't know anything. Barry Fish, if you're around and you're listening or looking, chime in.
If the fish are post-spawn on Squaw, would you focus on main lake points? Well, if the fish are post-spawn on any lake I go to, main lake points is going to be one of the very first things I look at, unless there's a
Said
bunch of
something about the
guys.
shirts. No, I ain't selling no captain shirts. That's my wife being a goober.
Yeah. Hell, we might have a new thing though. You never know. El Capitan t-shirts. If you haven't seen it, please check out the Captain Ron Guide Service Facebook
Yes.
page. His wife made the most wonderful t-shirt you've ever seen.
Hey, Lene.
What's the best 6 Sense color movement ADX in your opinion? So I have a few that I lean on. My best shad pattern to me is wild shad. It's got a little tiny chartreuse stripe.
there is.
It's got that bluish grayish back in the shad pattern. Also like chartreuse black back. Also like lava trees, little chartreuse with a crawl pattern.
Are we
Good?
show them?
Have we
They
been
wanna-
kicked out yet?
I'm gonna show you all this shirt real quick.
Uh-oh. Look at here.
El Capitan Ron.
That's it.
Man, that's the one and only. We bringing sexy back, baby.
Well, guys, we need to get to dinner. We were actually here because they had the
Fishers and Men.
Fishers
My
and
favorite
Men.
tournament trail.
great Christian
Yeah,
organized tournament trail. Awesome tournament trail. Great
I've been
community
fishing
tournament.
since 2006. These
So-
guys are family to me.
They had registration here tonight for their tournament tomorrow. So Captain Ron was up here volunteering, helping these guys out. I showed up. You know, they call me the
I was
blister.
wrong. My wife was.
They call me the blister because I show up when all the work's done, and that's what I did tonight. I showed up right as it wrapped up.
They had 80-something anglers here with their
my
fly stuff,
goodness.
and they cooked Nautical Mile, cooked dinner for them. So check out Fishermen, FOMNTT.com if you want to get down, fish little tournaments.
Fishermen, great tournament trail, Christian ran organization. Nautical Mile giving them great support, hosting registration, cooking for them. Man, we're lucky, dude. We get to work with so many people that are. East Texas is so cool living here and working here and dealing with all these people that we deal with. We're so fortunate because we are blessed to have the people in our life that we do. It's awesome. Ronnie, you ready to wrap it up? Hey, man,
wrap it up.
We appreciate all you guys following along tonight. There was almost 100 people in here at one time.
That's awesome.
Watching live. That's awesome. Thank you guys.
Hookstep Brothers made a showing. Martin Montoya, my boy, doing great things. Changing the world, man. We've been at war since 2000.
Since I graduated high school, I think. So,
man, they're taking care of veterans every day on the water and in the field.
They do an awesome job. That's phenomenal. So thank those guys. We want to thank Smash Tech Bait, 6 Sense Fishing for all the support that they give both of us. They do a phenomenal job. Kistler,
thank you. Santone, you guys took care of me while I was down at Falcon. Thanks.
Absolutely. We're so fortunate to work with all the people we do. Fish Life app's out there. Got a lot of different lakes. We'll keep adding more. We'll keep updating. We got some new updates coming in the next week, so follow along with that. Got some great content coming next week from On the Water, so follow along for that. And most importantly, thank each and every one of you guys for watching. We can't express how much we appreciate you guys watching, helping us, giving us support you do. You're why we get to do what we do. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide.